How's it going, guys? It's Crazy Boy here, and welcome back to another video. Now, instead of our normal match today, guys, we're going to be doing an update video. And this update video is going to cover one thing in specific. The devs have finally did it. The decisive change is upon us. The decisive strike change is coming. They've confirmed it. So, if you guys don't know what decisive strike is, it's a perk that has been a pain in the killer's ass for far too long. It's a lure restore teachable perk that you unlock at level 40 in the Blood Web, and it allows you to get off the killer's shoulder by succeeding a skill check and stun the killer for either 3, 3.5, or 4 seconds if you're the obsession. If you're not the obsession, you wiggle and then you hit the skill check. So, Decisive Strike has, I'm just going to come out and say it, guys, it got a nerf. It's not a buff. I can personally tell you, as somebody who plays Survivor and Killer, that it did need a nerf. However, I don't know if this nerf was the best idea. They said that the first thing they need to do in order to fix Decisive was to find the thing that made people the most, that was the most frustrating about it. So they said the most frustrating things about the perk are there could be up to 4 decisives in a match. It can take a lot of the killer's time, and it can completely break their momentum, and it can be combined with other frustrations such as, you know, sprint burst, dead hard, flashlights, etc. And it often comes back as a point of resentment for killers who face survivor teams with decisive strike. From here on out, we'll be calling it DS, just so we're clear. Risk reward. There's not much of a downside using the perk, and yet a huge advantage when it's used successfully. Dribbling. It's when if you guys don't know what dribbling is, when a killer purposely drops a survivor every few feet to avoid the skill check, and it's normally used to get people too hooked without letting them use their decisive. And this is more of an annoyance on the survivor side. And then obsessions. With only a handful of survivor obsession perks, it's clear when a survivor is running decisive, which would cause the killer to either tunnel that person or actively avoid them. So, here's our new and improved decisive. After being unhooked, or unhooking yourself, Decisive Strike will become active and usable for 60 seconds. While Decisive, this is at Tier 3. When Decisive Strike is active, when grabbed by the killer, succeed a skill check to automatically escape the killer's grasp and stun the killer for 3 seconds. This is at Tier 3, when, keep in mind, Tier 3 used to be 4 seconds. Succeeding or failing Decisive skill check will disable the perk. Successfully stunning the killer will result in you becoming the obsession. That's the important part. So for the new iteration of Decisive, they introduce certain conditions and outcomes for using the perk. The trade-off for using Decisive Strike comes at the risk of becoming the killer's obsession, and the changing obsession, they said, is something that they have never tried out before. So here are the changes. The perk now starts inactive, which means it's no longer usable from the start of the match when you're first down, which means if you instantly get down, you can't use it like that. So all of y'all who want to be toxic and use it on your first down to make sure you can't get hooked and camped, that's out of the question. A new condition and a trial, any survivor that has a perk equipped can activate and use Decisive Strike if they meet the condition without wiggling, which is being saved from a hook or unhooking themselves. Decisive Strike will only stay active for 40, 50, or 60 seconds after being unhooked. This window of opportunity gives survivors only a limited time frame in which to trigger the perk after escaping the hook, which means that after that timer, you can't use Decisive anymore. So that's one of the biggest concerns, I think. Decisive Strike skill checks will trigger during the pickup, and this decision was made to avoid dribbling, which means you can't dribble them anymore. If you pick them up, they're getting the skill check. No questions about it. Stunning the killer in Decisive Strike will result in the killer dropping the survivor. After successfully using Decisive Strike, you immediately become the obsession. It will remove any other obsession from the other players, and any perk that refers to the obsession will now refer to you. This is an important thing to take into consideration, simply because You could have multiple different obsession changes, and this could be a real annoyance for the killer depending on how you use it. If you miss or hit the skill check, it eats Decisive. So it's still a one-time use. 4 people can still run Decisive. And now that we're through that, it's time for my opinion on it. Was this a good balance? You want my personal opinion? No. This was not a good balance. I feel like Decisive got changed in the wrong way here. I feel like Decisive Strike should have been worked on better. Because now this makes the perk purposeless if the killer has a Mori. Since you can't use it on your first hook, if the killer gets them to their first hook and throws them on there, if the killer has a Mori, you're fucked. You don't even get the chance to use Decisive. And with this new change to Decisive, you'll notice that since a lot of people won't deal with it, it means since a lot of killers don't want to deal with it, they're going to start running Dying Light and camping. That's what they're going to do. So it'll guarantee that you don't get off the hook. That's what people are going to start doing. They're going to start camping to make sure you don't get off the hook and you don't get a chance to use your Decisive. And that's not okay, because if you're changing it to where it encourages people to camp, I'd rather have the old Decisive. To tell you the truth. As far as the changing of session goes, I do think that's actually a pretty cool idea. However, I feel like that is definitely going to be an annoyance to the killer if everybody has it. That's definitely going to be really annoying. So, you definitely want to watch that. So, I feel like it could have been better integrated. I feel like they should have went with the change they talked about a while back, where when you hit it, it stuns the killer in place, and then one of the survivors could go for a flashlight save instead, or a pallet stun. Some things I think they should keep with this current change is the skill check when being picked up. That way, they can't dribble. Dribbling's never been much of a problem. However, it is kind of inconvenient if you're a solo player, because not a lot of people are around to body block when you're solo. And I think that they should keep the stun time for killer at 3 seconds. I feel like the stun time shouldn't be 4 seconds. I feel like, because you don't realize how long 4 seconds is, especially if you have enduring, but 4 seconds is actually really painful. They can get very far in 4 seconds, especially if they have sprint burst, and it's ready. And that's not okay. So I think 3 seconds is actually really good. 3 seconds is a good time at tier 3. So it makes the perk feel kind of rewarding, but not too rewarding. And this is one of the big controversies. The next thing I kind of want to talk about briefly. Everybody talks about, okay, well, you fix Decisive. When are you fixing Node? Decisive is not like Node. Node can be avoided. You can cleanse the totems. Decisive cannot. You can slug them and risk them getting back up. You can run Enduring and still take the hit. You can pretty much just get fucked. Yeah, so yeah, that was definitely something that needed to be changed, is the fact that Decisive couldn't be avoided. Now, if we're getting technical, guys, Decisive could be avoided by just not tunneling. If you don't go after the same person, you should be good. And I don't think that might be I mean, it's great because you're encouraging people not to tunnel. However, I feel like that might also start encouraging more people to play one-hit down killers. And Michael is going to be very big in that case because he requires no skill, which is going to suck because I hate seeing Michael. But this patch will go live. It'll be live in the next PTB, and according to the devs, it should be coming in the next live update for all platforms. That does it for this video, though, guys. Let me know how you feel about the perk. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, leave your opinions down in the comments. I will see you in the next one. Peace.